Are we ready for a post roll?
No, because I've been holding off on Trump talk all night long.
Oh yeah, I was wondering when you guys were talking about Trump. You guys talk about him so much.
Dude, it's the thing is, like now that he's in and things are going bumpy, I have like 2 real life Trump supporters right here, and sometimes I wait all week just to like find out. Like
I voted for Trump.
All right, three. So now
I told my subscribers I voted for Gary Johnson, but that was just because I wouldn't get a ton of backlash. Because like, if I was to tell people, I voted. No, this is the reason why me and my friend voted for Trump. Okay, this guy is the most entertaining politician of all time. Okay, you cannot say that that's not true. And the great part about Trump is his supporters. My friend, his neighbor, has literally, instead of the American flag, he has a Trump flag, like a literal flagpole and a Trump flag, like at his house. Like I want to take a picture of it and send it to you guys because it's the funniest thing ever and it is so fucking great. Yeah, it says Trump, make America great again, and it's literally, he took down his American flag and put a fucking Trump flag on his flagpole. And when Trump was running, he had like this huge banner across his lawn with Trump or whatever, and you could tell this guy's a straight skinhead, dude. Like I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if this dude had a Nazi symbol or whatever on his neck. It's like, yeah.
Symbol on his neck.
Yeah, because he just looks like a skinhead. I mean, he's bald. He's just straight up completely white.
That's such like a Trump supporter caricature.
Yeah, exactly.
The funniest thing of what you just said was that you told your subscribers that you voted for Gary Johnson.
That's the greatest too.
Well, it's obvious I voted for Trump because, like, I don't know. I actually I like Trump. I don't like any of a lot of his policies, but I just like that he's trying to cut taxes for businesses and stuff. Because for me, I mean, I vote for someone for my best interests. Obviously, okay, I'm not like someone over here who cares about white guilt. I don't really give a shit. Honestly, I just want my taxes to go down, okay? I'm getting taxed like 55% right now. It's like, this is fucking ridiculous. So that's one of the main reasons why I want Trump to be in office. And it's just like, if Hillary was in office right now, it would be so lame, dude. Like, she's so boring and dull. And you know, the thing about Trump, though, is that his speeches now, with like in the joint Congress or whatever, his speech a couple days ago, yeah, his speeches are awful with the teleprompter. It's just awful. Like,
dude, he was staring at it like it's so obvious. Like he's reading off the.
I like his speeches without the teleprompter. When he did
everybody does.
Those are so great, and it's like now he has to use the teleprompter, and he sounds like such an idiot too because he's like looking at it and he's like talking about it.
The best is the mix. The best is the mix when he'll be like, you know, oh, Chicago crime is higher than ever. You know,
so
that's
high.
Right. That part, like, I agree with that part. And then he reads some more.
He'll be like, we're bringing jobs back. We're gonna bring them back better than ever, folks, like you've never seen before. And then he'll go back to the fuck.
It seems like he's never read it before.
He does not understand the emphasis of certain syllables and the flow of regular speech. Like I can feel myself smuggling up the ad reads occasionally. I'm like, oh, I didn't emphasize the right syllable on that word, did I?
And it makes it sound stupid too.
Come out. He sounds so stupid because I do it occasionally because I'm reading this for the first time ever. I've never read this before. He's reading a speech that they should have been poring over for hours. If I were delivering,
he probably didn't though because he's so full of himself.
It'd be coming from the heart, and I would have been talking to fucking actors and performers about which would it be more powerful if we emphasize this syllable, here rather than there. That flows really well, into this next sentence. Yeah, let's move this sentence there and that one there. That's much more powerful, and it shows that solidarity. You know, you'd be like dissecting the speech and memorizing and like poring over it. He's just like, all right, play it. And he's just reading straight off the thing for the first time. It feels like so often.
It's funny. But so now, Pence is using his private AOL email address to discuss homeland security issues. That just came out. Sessions
AOL.
He literally fucking AOL to discuss homeland security issues. And like that was Hillary's big thing. The private email server, all that. They're doing it. Sessions just recused himself because he lied under oath about talking to the Russians.
Dude, this is like a House of Cards episode. That's what I love about it.
That's House of Cards is going to come out with their last season, and it's going to pale in comparison to what we have in the White House.
Flynn's already had to resign in shame. Sessions may resign in shame. We'll see how that comes out.
I hope so. Am I the only one wanting Jeff Sessions out?
I think a lot of people are on that side. Yeah, I remember when he first got suggested. that a lot of people really, really hated this guy. But personally, I was like, I've never heard of him before. So
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
I feel
don't
like I
like him
shouldn't be
because of-
getting all worked up, like, because you told me to. Not you, but
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah, I didn't buy into all of the racial discrimination stuff that they're drumming up from like the 70s or something like that. It's like, look, this guy hasn't stepped out of line since 1970, and even then, it seems pretty fucking murky. Like he's probably a decent fellow.
I think it was the 90s, but anyway.
Ah, man.
Is it that
okay.
old?
I
maybe
thought it
the
was
80s. All right.
because he's an old fucking guy himself. But what I don't like what he's saying about the recreational marijuana. I don't like how all this the transgender issue. Oh, that's a states' rights issue. And when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, as a constitutionalist, I think that that is a states' right.
Yeah,
rights
then
issue.
marijuana should be too.
Yeah,
Marijuana should be
I
fucking
hate when like Sean Spicer was
douchebag.
saying. I hated when Sean Spicer was saying, "Oh yeah, there's a big difference between medical and recreational marijuana." It's like, okay, for real, it doesn't make.
And then
any
he
sense.
slips opioids into the same conversation as if marijuana is a goddamn opioid.
Exactly. Yeah. It was awful. It sounded like you were listening to like a politician from like the 1950s or something trying to speak on these issues.
Reefer madness. Like that level of stupid.
Yeah, you look at Jeff Sessions' comments when he talks about the violence that comes along with the marijuana, and particularly the more potent marijuana of today.
Probably makes you less violent.
That kind of ignorant. Yes, right. The more potent marijuana of the day is just tranquilizing the fuck out of people and making them eat extra bags of Doritos.
That was my joke. Like, oh yeah, the Dorito consumption, particularly the more potent strains of today, is off the charts.
I just imagine like a big pie chart where Jeff Sessions, as you can see here in the Minneapolis area alone, Doritos in the Cool Ranch region, we see an 80% rise in Cool Ranch alone. You see right there, that is that potent marijuana we're talking about. It's like, what are we talking about? This violent crime.
Like if you have like drug-o-vision and you can just see and be like, oh, that person's drunk, that person's high on marijuana, that person's on meth, like, and you're walking through a street at night, late, like if you see a guy that's like this high on marijuana, like you're not going to derivate your path one bit. Just like, oh, I bet that guy is
you might
probably pretty sleepy. Yeah, you might be really tired or maybe just ready to go home and eat and watch a movie. If I see with my drug-o-vision like meth, or coke or heroin or something. It's like, all right, I'm going to cross the other side of the street because even if they're on heroin and they're probably low on energy, maybe they need more heroin. And so they want to mug me and sell my phone to some pawn shop or whatever.
On the Trump thing, like I see his administration as one that's really not doing a good job, right? You know, like he proposed, I've heard between 54 billion and 84 billion and an increase in military spending, right? And decreased taxes. And there really aren't any other discretionary spending to find 54 to 84 billion dollars. This is what they tell me, because he said he wasn't going to touch the Medicare and Social Security, right? So if he promises not to touch that, you can't just fucking defund PBS and find 84 billion dollars. Like it's not there. There's not that much. So, and then he's got the tax cut thing. That just leads to a failing country. He's got the drug thing you mentioned. He's got all these embarrassing like ties with Russia, the now Pence and the private emails and Homeland Security. I just feel like this thing is so bumpy. And Flynn, I left that out. They're resigning in shame. Like we're looking at a really incompetent administration here. They don't usually kick off the and the two laws he passed that I know of, and I swear there's not that much more than this, is energy companies can give and take bribes, and energy companies, the coal companies in particular, can dump their like sewage or ash or whatever into.
He passed a law that
water.
energy companies can take bribes.
Yes.
There's something about them. There's something about mortgages. There's been a couple of little things. I think. But you're right. First of all, it's still early, right? They always talk about what the first 100 days of a presidency or the first 90 days, and we're like 40 something in or so. But I agree with you. Sure, he certainly hasn't moved any mountains or part of the Red Sea yet. Mm-hmm. He's entertained the fuck out of me, though. I'm glad to see that it seems like he's going to be held accountable, and so is his administration, for any wrongdoing they may or may not have done. Anything that was untoward when it comes between them and the Russians. We're going to get to the bottom of it. It's clear. I watched John McCain and Lindsey Graham's little town hall or whatever they called it last night. They're all about that, too. Lindsey Graham's like, oh, if something happened, we're going to find out.
Those two guys kind of opposed Trump. I didn't like that Sessions was refusing to recuse himself. Like, he wanted to look over all this Russian stuff until it came out that he was actually one of the bad guys. Like, he wanted to lead this investigation on his own and until he was part of it, until he was getting investigated.
Yeah, until it turned out he had lied under oath to Congress.
About speaking with Russians during the campaign.
And of course, they fucking roll that tape immediately. And he's like, well, I talked to this person. I haven't talked to any Russian officials about any of that. And, you know, it almost, and if you're a fly on the wall, you're like, why are they bothering Mr. Sessions about Russians here in these hallowed chambers? We need to get these people approved and get this administration rolling. When reality is like, there's a lot of Russian involvement that's a little fishy, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. And whether that means that Trump gets thrown out, or where that means his whole administration is gone, they're going to get to the bottom of it, and they're going to make it right.
As we say this, they haven't assigned an independent prosecutor to look into this,
and they may not.
Instead, it's just whoever reports to Pence will look at it instead.
Whoever reports to Sessions.
I'm sorry, I meant Sessions. Yeah, they did. So it's not like we've got like an actual indepent sort of like Kenneth Starr looking into this shit.
But you will though. Like this is our first step. The layers are gonna keep peeling back of this onion, and there'll be a congressional investigation.
Able to get that done though, right?
Because the Republicans are up for it. Lindsey Graham is like you mentioned. You know,
Lindsey Graham and Trump are like mortal enemies, right? Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So and they are Republicans. So there are these two very powerful Republicans, John McCain and Lindsey Graham.
Your implication is that like the Republicans are not teaming up with Trump, right? They just did a vote to release his tax returns, and like all 284 of them voted to keep those returns private. Like that happened yesterday or today.
Well, that seems fine to me, because there's no reason for them to like force him to like give away his tax terms. But this is something where like you had Lindsey Graham saying like, yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of any kind of Russian involvement.
Well, they're looking for ties to Russia in his tax returns. They want to know if he owes them money, if they have anything on him, etc. That's what I'm sure it's one of the reasons. I think that maybe another reason is he doesn't pay taxes, and they want to expose him for that.
Just pay federal taxes.
Agreed. Yeah, and but I really don't like that Sessions, and I would say the Trump administration, is still trying to be the people looking into this Russia thing against themselves. That seems pretty crooked to me.
That seems how it always goes, though, right? Like that's what every and it's a problem.
It did work for Clinton, because Loretta Lynch refused to recuse herself of the Clinton investigation, even after she met on the tarmac for 20 minutes.
Okay, we're going
Eric Holder.
Clinton, I was talking about.
Not the new Clinton crime.
No, I was talking about just this past Loretta Lynch, our last attorney general.
I was talking about Kenneth Starr when they impeached Bill Clinton. Like they had an independent person look into this.
Or Eric Holder, he obstructed investigations into the Fast and Furious scandal. He was attorney general. He never stepped down. Loretta Lynch didn't step down or recuse herself from Hillary's investigation. We need some better attorney generals. So in that way, I'm glad that he recused himself, because at least he's saying I'm not fit to do this. So at least he didn't say like I'm not recusing myself, because that would be ridiculous. It's like at the very least
today.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I'm glad
he talked to the Russians, right? He lied under oath. He he did everything he could to retain power.
The question is whether he
it's still not it's not clear whether he was saying I didn't speak to Russians at all, or I didn't speak to any Russians regarding the campaign. Was the murky area. And regardless of what that situation was, once you've said I haven't spoke to the Russians, and then any sort of situation comes out in which you did, you should recuse yourself, so that at the very least people can look at you and say like, okay, he did step down, and so I'll take him more seriously from here on out. Whereas if he had just not recused himself, it'd be like, okay, well, whatever this uncovers is probably bunk, because I don't trust you to do this honestly.
No, I hope that Jeff Sessions it has to resign. I don't like Jeff Sessions. I don't like that marijuana bullshit, when it goes against everything that I like about the Trump administration, that this business first, America first attitude, all else be damned kind of thing, that says like no. They're making $1 billion a year selling marijuana, and no one has been hurt. As a matter of fact, DUI deaths have gone down. Alcohol problems have gone down. This reason, that reason. You go through all that.
Tons of money.
What I expect a Donald Trump to do, what you voted for Donald Trump to do, is say, yeah, fuck everything else. $1 billion. That's what matters, is $1 billion, and no one is hurt for gaining it. No, I'm not going to go in there and mess and like spend government money to take $1 billion out of the pockets of the great state of Colorado or Washington or the fucking District of Columbia, where he's fucking presiding over right now, where it's also fucking legal. I didn't like that, and I hate when one thing is a states' rights question, and then all of a sudden when they want control over this thing, oh, that's a federal government kind of thing right there. Like, no, make up your mind. What's fair is fair, and I don't like I don't like being lied to either. He said he wasn't going to go after rec weed.
He said he was going to leave it up to the states during his campaign.
And to be fair to Trump, Sessions, and that administration, nothing has happened yet. And until it does start happening, you can't really prejudge them. But you can judge him based on what he said the other day, and that was that he insinuated that we're going to start cracking down on this recreational marijuana thing. It's the law of the land, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, no, it's not what you said before, and that's not what you say when it comes to guys wearing dresses. So I call horse shit.
Right,
the one thing that the one thing that kind of annoyed me during his speech to the Joint Congress the other day is he was touting the fact that they are now going to spend the most money they ever have on national security or national defense. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why? Why do we need to spend so much more money on that? It's like, don't we already spend $600 billion a year on our military? It doesn't make any sense. Like, why don't we give half of that money to NASA and see what they do with it? Like, why do we have to spend so much?
Trump is pro NASA. I like that. He spoke many times about giving NASA more money, being the leading nation in space, and things like that. And I like hearing stuff.
Because he seems pro bullshit, right? He's pro
Does.
everything. He's pro tax cuts. He's pro spending.
Not pro Mexico.
Pro
tax cuts isn't.
Yeah, actually, everyone in Mexico, my staff member's from Mexico, and he tells me how they're like around there when it comes to Trump, and they didn't actually give a fuck about Trump until he actually became president, and he actually started saying that he was going to build this wall. Now everyone in Mexico, like, you get fucking killed if you wear a Trump hat. Like, he told me everyone just is so anti-Trump in Mexico. It's ridiculous. So they weren't actually anti-Trump before the election, though.
So they are now. Those bad.
I guess they just didn't give a shit.
Wait till next year; they'll be really anti-Trump.
Yeah, wait till we start laying those fucking bricks. Then we're gonna see.
Guys, we're in season 1. All the character development, it's all being laid.
Exactly. Dude, that's what I love about it. It's like a TV show. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, someone drops
article
out
every day about more corruption in the Trump administration. It's great. I love it.
Dude,
lots of characters leave in the first season of every show.
See, we already got the Ned Stark. I just ask because sometimes I watch these things unfold, like, layers of corruption and lying under oath and recusals and resignations and shame and the anti-EPA stuff, and I'm like, like, at what point will Trump supporters not think that he's doing a good job anymore? And I guess we're not there yet. Maybe they.
No, they're always going to love him.
I think Trump's popularity is only rising. I don't think he's done anything recently that's gonna diminish his popularity. Sure, the things within his administration look bad, but they don't stick to him, at least not yet. They just don't. After that speech the other night, I bet he's got a huge bump today in the polls. I know that the stock thing had very little to do with him. I read in depth about what the little bump in stocks the other day was all about. It was funny to see, like, the Market Watch version, which was newscasters think that everything is cause and effect, and that everything is correlated, and if this happens, then this happens. But they're just talking. And then I heard the newscasters go, guys who play the stock market aren't the smartest people out there. So what all they're doing is saying, hey, Trump's pro-business, that's got to be good. And it goes up, and then Market Watch gets in the middle and explains that people were betting short or whatever, that the market would do a certain thing, and they explained how the market, like, bunched up, and then they all had to, like, cover their bet, and they explained in great detail, like, why the market had a little bump, and this was 2 days ago, and then they predicted that today it would slide, and then I, like, turn on today, and yep, it slides right down today. It was funny to see both sides of that thing, and how neither side really seemed to know too much about what they were talking about.
A lot of times that happens. Sometimes it's difficult to explain why the market did something on any given day. Over the long term, you can usually, understand, like, the flow of money and how much debt people have, and et cetera. But on a given day, like, why the market went up 100 points today, like, I don't know. Like, sometimes it's the way the ball bounces. And I remember, I think it went to 15 days, but at the time we were talking about it, like, the markets had all gone up 5 days in a row. But that means very little to me, because I'm kind of a long-term player. 5 good days is line noise, static. But Anyway, so yeah, all right, I got my Trump fix. That's what I was looking for.